Hello, and thank you for joining me today on Geezers of Gear, episode number 211. Today's podcast is brought to you by Live Events Productions. Amplify every experience with live events, an end-to-end event production company offering off-the-charts solutions for your sound, light, video rigging, FX, and equipment rental needs. Live Events full-service event production team is an assembly of companies, including Active Production and Design, Delicate Productions, Gemini Sound, Light and Video, Pyrotechnico Effects, and Zenith Lighting. From intimate gatherings to stadium-sized spectacles, their brands produce the perfect mix of production elements to best serve your needs. Whether you are setting up for a singular event or a world tour, they have gear available for rent or purchase. Their precision-balanced approach seamlessly integrates sound, light, video, and effects to arrive at optimal solutions for your event or installation. Achieve audio awesomeness and visual brilliance, while the Live Events family of professionals provide an unforgettable service style and experience. If you dream it, they can do it. Allow Live Events to perfect your production from concept to curtain drop. Contact Live Events, your humble servants of heck yeah, today by visiting liveevents.com. And today's podcast is also brought to you by Stratum Productions. Stratum understands that successful events hinge on flawless execution. With years of experience in the audiovisual industry, Stratum Productions specializes in providing event planners with cutting-edge solutions that seamlessly blend technology and creativity. From intimate boardroom meetings to sprawling conventions, they're committed to delivering experiences that resonate and leave a lasting impact on audiences of all sizes. Stratum Productions truly do stand out above the rest when it comes to event production. To learn more about what Stratum does, who they are as a company, visit stratumpro.com. And of course, where would we be without Geezer's Grind coffee? And so if you haven't tried it yet, go to coffeecult.com with K's, coffee with a K, cult with a K.com, and search for Geezer's Grind. It is the perfect blend. It's a mix of a dark roast that they call Road Dog and a medium blend coffee. I mixed it myself at home, came up with this perfect solution, had them blend it for us and call it Geezer's Grind. And the best part is that Coffee Cult are donating 100% of the proceeds from all of the Coffee Cult Geezer's Grind coffee that's sold to Robe Backstage, who supports individuals in our industry who need help. So please go to coffeecult.com and search for Geezer's Grind. Not only are you helping the industry and a great charity, but you are also getting really great coffee. And I know that I'm probably a little bit biased, but I'm telling you, this is great coffee. So go to coffeecult.com and order Geezer's Grind today. Episode 211. I'm looking forward to today's episode. Actually, a good friend of mine in the industry, a person that all of you know as well. And so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. He's been on before. And I think we're going to talk a lot about LDI, which just happened, was it last week already? And I am really jealous because for the second time ever, I didn't go to the show. I just had to keep my head down and do a lot of the hard work right now that we're transitioning not only our website, but a lot of things about my company right now and making it much better. And so, yeah, just head down, really focused on the hard work. And I had to miss the show. And I'm sad for it because seeing all the pictures, especially like I said last episode, the Cosmo pictures, Cosmo had a takeover of Facebook. And, just really bummed me out that I wasn't there. A lot of really cool new gear. And, of course, the people. We go to trade shows not just for the gear, but for the people, mostly for the people, I think. So, anyways, yeah, we'll be talking about that a lot today. As far as my company that I was mentioning, so just a quick update on GearSource, still plugging away. We did a deal with a digital marketing company, a global digital marketing company who is going to be doing some massive work for GearSource, but especially for our sellers, really promoting their inventory on a global level, getting products sold quicker, and just doing a better job getting the information out there. So looking forward to that. Lots of other partnerships that I will be soon to announce. We're making a lot of things happen right now as we needed to. We had a really rough year. And so some things that will be announced in the coming weeks. And yeah, I mean, gear, the other thing is gear, and maybe Chris will talk about this. I'm sure he'll have the opposite statement to make, but I'm seeing gear is finally freeing up sort of on a global level, and we're really starting to see gold in the listings. I mean, we're seeing stuff that 6 months ago was a dream. Today we're seeing it often. We're seeing lots of really great L-acoustic stuff, Digico consoles, Allen and Heath consoles, MA3s that I know there's a back order for a year and a half or whatever. We're getting some that are like barely used kind of stuff, more MA2s. So yeah, I mean, just a lot of really great listings are popping up now. So if you haven't been on GearSource lately, shameless plug, please visit gearsource.com today. And I'm kind of bummed again. I know I've been bummed a lot on this call, but I missed the Willie Williams interview today. So we're recording this on, what day is it? Tuesday, Wednesday? It'll be played next week, but we're recording it a week earlier, whatever that was. But Willie Williams was today. I had a meeting that was supposed to end, and it didn't until probably 45 minutes into that Willie Williams thing. So I missed it, and I was really kind of looking forward to it. Willie's a very talented and smart individual. I wanted to hear him talking about, the run in the Sphere and their design in the Sphere, and how, the complexities of designing a show for the Sphere and la. So bummed about that. Hopefully you got to see it. I'm sure it'll be out as a recording or on YouTube or something. So hopefully anyways. And LDI, as I said, we're going to talk about it. I don't know that I have any hot gossip in the industry right now. Not really. I mean, nobody's really been sold or bought or anything that I've seen recently. Nobody's firing half their staff. Nobody's hiring double their staff. So, yeah, I mean, it seems to be status quo right now, but I'm sure Chris will have some rumors, having been at the show in Vegas last week. So, yeah, Chris McMeen is coming back on to Geezers of Gear episode 211. He was on the show almost exactly a year ago at LDI in Vegas, of course. And I remember it well because Chris was super hungover. Actually, I think I called him and said, "Are we doing this?" And he had slept in or something, or maybe he was in the Tesla on the way over to the convention center. But he wasn't feeling real great. I think he hadn't had much sleep, which is an LDI thing. Apparently that happens. So yeah, a lot has changed in a year, and I look forward to this chat. So let's go ahead and get it going. Hey, Chris, what's happening?
Hey, Marcel.
When you're looking sideways, I can tell you're like typing quotes and stuff. Ooh, what can I take from PRG today? I can see.
Actually, they've been getting quite a few lately.
They've been getting quite a few.
Yeah.
Well, they will.
Yeah, but they are the big dog.
They're still a big dog. I don't know. Are they the big dog? Are they still the big dog, or is Four Wall?
Yeah, they're still the big dog. No, Four Wall would like to be the big dog, but they're certainly not.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to realize Four Wall is only in the U.S. and Europe. PRG's in Asia.
Yeah.
All over Europe.
Is Four Wall? Do they have any Canadian offices yet? I don't even know. I can't think.
They do not really have a Canadian office.
No, I didn't think so. I didn't think they had any Canadian locations.
We're the big dog in Canada.
That's true.
We're
is
the Canadian. We're bigger than Solotech. Although they got video and sound. Yeah, we're bigger.
One, they just got another big investment I saw from some French-Canadian company that just put another gazillion dollars into Solotech. So there you go.
They're buying new gear.
They're buying new gear, supposedly, or more companies. Probably that's what these people do. They go and take on investment, and then they buy a bunch of companies. And then hopefully they sell all the mismatched gear on GearSource.
Yeah, I know, right? That's good money for you.
Well, sometimes. It's, honestly, like the used gear business has been so weird this year, especially because manufacturers are so aggressive. and manufacturers have overbuilt. So, they're going out and cutting deals with everyone, with whether it's Christie Lites or even smaller companies. They're cutting
Okay.
deals and,
To
you know,
block the used
yeah.
sales.
Well, they're not blocking used sales. It's just they got to sell their shit, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's been
Wish car
definitely
companies were
different.
like that.
They're not yet, because
No.
weren't
There's
they
still a
for a
lot of
while
used
there?
cars on the lots. Not as many new cars.
Oh, I thought for a while there though they had gotten really really aggressive to a point where it was cheaper to buy a new car than a used car.
No, not unless you were ordering. If you wanted something off the lot, they were still marking it up over MSRP.
Really?
So,
Today?
so they're like, okay, MSRP is 32 grand on this car. You're going to pay 37 if you want it. I only got two left in the lot, and there's four people looking at
That
it.
blows me away. You know, like I know 2 grand over sticker doesn't sound like a lot, but what's going on? My microphone is pausing. Our internet's been goofy today. Um, I won't pay over sticker for a
Uh-uh.
car. Oh, did you lose me? Have I lost you? Are we
Right.
still here?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I won't pay over sticker on a car, and I got a call from a friend of mine in Canada a couple weeks ago. Good friend of mine, an oil and gas guy, loads of cash, and he says, "Hey, Marcel, do you have any friends in the Porsche world?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Like at a dealership." And I said, "Yeah, I have a guy who's a GM at a Porsche dealership. He's a really good guy. I've known him in the racing world for ages. What do you need?" And he says, "I want one of these 911 GT RS, and I want a European delivery on it." You know what that is, right?
Yeah, that's my dad did that. You go pick it up in Europe and get a little free trip to Europe and don't pay sales tax.
Well, and you drive around Europe for a while, and then you drop it off at
Yeah.
the port, and it ships over. Really fun, and you get to drive a Porsche on the Autobahn and stuff or whatever, right? But anyways, so I said, "Yeah, let me give him a call." And I called my buddy, and he goes, "Well, technically, I can't ship one to Canada, but I can get him one. Like I can get him an allocation. They're hard to get." I said, "Okay, so what's that going to cost him?" And I gotta remember, did he say? He said 250 over sticker.
Wow.
And I think it's a $300,000 car.
Yeah,
So
it
that's
is.
550 grand for a freaking Porsche 911. And
No.
so, I called my buddy back, and he's very wealthy, but he's also, as much as it sounds crazy to say he's cheap, he's like 250. That's insane. I thought it'd be 150. And I'm like, "So you'd pay 150 over sticker for that car?" And he goes, "Oh, hell yeah, right now. I'd do it right now." And I'm like, "Man, I'm in the wrong industry, I guess, because that ain't happening."
Yeah, no. And I don't know how much you talked to Christopher out on the West Coast, but he bought like a Bronco and a bunch of other stuff, and then he
Oh,
just
Chris
resold
Hasen?
them. Yeah, Hasten, because
He sold his Bronco?
one of them he got like two of them, and he sold one of them.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I follow his drama on Facebook where he's always complaining about everything. Either his Mexican neighbor or his Broncos, the Ford dealership, right?
Or California just in general. I'm like,
Yeah,
how have you not
California
left
in general.
California yet? Like
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
else jumped ship. Like, why are you still there?
I know it's funny though because like I've known Chris for so long,
Yeah,
I can tell how many Jägermeisters he's had based on what he's saying on Facebook. And so I know he just gets pissed and then sits there at 1 o'clock in the morning typing these long diatribes on Facebook. But yeah, I remember he was waiting on a Bronco forever. Like it was supposed to be here in 6 months, and it's already 9 months. And what's going on? These people are crazy. Rah rah rah. And so then another one popped up, so he bought that one. And then of
right.
course, like a few weeks later or whatever, his other one came in.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he ended up with two.
But then he made like 13 grand on the resale.
He sold both of them or just one of them?
Just the one.
Oh, okay.
He's
I
still
like those
driving.
things. I mean, they're nice. The Broncos.
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
pay 13 over sticker for it though.
hell no, hell no.
Like,
But
forget that.
But the thing is, like, you got to do what he did. You got to do all the fancy aftermarket shit on them, because like
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah.
stock, they don't do
Yeah.
anything for me. But
Yeah.
then when you do all that sort of Jeep Rubicon stuff to it, where you make it look mean, and it's still
Yeah.
only like 200 horsepower or something, but it looks mean, you know. Speaking of cars, what happened with your Tesla? Is it done? Is it fixed?
It's fixed. Yep. They so I guess my motor died. I only have one motor in that one.
Okay.
And the motor died. It still got me home, but then basically I had to have it towed out of the garage, and they took it in. I looked up the error code, and it said it was just a bad battery heater blower.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, no problem. That'll be done in a day. So I called them. They're like, your main motor's dead. I was
Oh,
like, oh, that's a 1,000,000 mile motor. I only got 150,000 miles out of it. They're like, yeah, well, happens to about 6%, and you're in the lucky 6%.
how the hell can they rate a motor for 1,000,000 miles? You know what I mean? Like, are they doing some kind of rapid testing on it or something where they're
Yeah, they basically just
simulating
run
a million
24
miles?
hours a day. Yeah, they run them 24 hours a day for
Huh. Yeah,
X amount.
I remember when I first started selling commercial LED stuff, and they were rating this stuff for like
50,000 hours.
10 years or 100,000 hours or
Yeah,
whatever they
100.
were doing, right? And I was like, who's testing this stuff? Like LEDs haven't been out for 10 years or 50,000 hours or 100,000 hours, like who's testing it? And oh yeah, well, we do simulated testing. Yeah, okay. Sure you do. But the problem is the LEDs will last an eternity, but the power supply and all the other shit around it fails.
And the coatings,
Yeah.
colors will fade,
Yeah. Yeah.
under
Yeah,
heavy radiation and heat for 5
you
years.
probably never got involved at all with like the Cree commercial stuff, but
Right.
Cree had this thing called an LR6. It was the first LED downlight that was ever commercially available,
Uh-huh.
and they bought the company from a small company out of North Carolina or something called LLF, and so they bought that company, and we were a Cree dealer at the time. LED Source was, and so I did my whole house, and I had ceilings in my house that were like 30 feet high and stuff. And I did my whole house with these Cree LR6s. And it
Hmm.
had this really cool technology in it where they were using lower binning, less expensive LEDs, and they were blending in red. And then they had this little, in the lens, they had a little color temperature sensor that would just boost the reds when it needed to. So if the red was fading over time or whatever, or if it was too bright, like they could change the amount of red to basically adjust the color temperature in the thing. And it was a brilliant idea. But what happened is this freaking chip failed in half of the Cree lights, and all your downlights go to pink. And it's like, what the heck is going on in my house right now? And oh, no problem, Marcel, we'll send you all new ones. Yeah, but I got to get an electrician with like a 30-foot ladder or a man lift or something to change them, So it's
Right.
like, $125 an hour or something to
Yeah.
change out. Probably at the time it was 60 downlights or something like that. And
Oh.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't a cheap
Yeah, I mean, these are the conversations we have with the manufacturers all the time. They're like, "Oh, we'll just send you this new piece, and you'll be fine."
yeah.
And I'm like, "We have 3,000 of those."
Yeah. Or it's
Even
rigged on the top of the Statue of Liberty or something. Yeah.
even if I nicely say an hour piece, that's
Yeah.
an enormous amount of cost that you're just throwing at the dealers,
Yeah.
with no compensation. I mean, I think that was one of the things that really damaged Clay Packy when the whole Mythos product came out.
Right. Yeah.
And people weren't, people are still bitter about that. They bought Mythos. They love the light coming out, but lamps exploding,
Yeah.
heat issues, and then even after the upgrade, they were still having issues.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I remember. I think Bob
and
Gordon
it's such a
actually
great
talked.
company, so it's like,
Yeah. I think
It's really
Bob Gordon talked about that on my podcast.
oh yeah,
Because he took the heat for that because he was the
oh
distributor
yeah,
still at the time, right? And he said it was just an absolute nightmare because people were blaming him,
yeah.
and it's
Well, he's
because
the
you're the guy I
distributor,
know, right? Yeah.
but
So
he doesn't have the money to say, okay, I'm going to give you back, $1,000 a fixture for your
well, even if he
pain.
does, it's not really his responsibility, right? It's the
Right,
manufacturer's
right.
responsibility. So, and I know these Italian companies. Oh, it'll be okay. Only you. It happens to nobody else. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I love Italians and they drive me crazy too, I shouldn't be so general and say like it's the whole
Right.
breed of Italians, but I should say Italian lighting manufacturers, but audio as well. Audio are similar. I've had similar experiences with audio. And
Oh, I
they're
mean,
so
they make really amazing products, but they have, the. I mean, it's not just them at the moment, though. I mean, I'd say it's Europeans.
yeah,
The
but cars
Europeans.
too. Like Italian
Yeah.
cars are similar, like uh, maybe Europeans. I think Germans are a little more let's fix this right now, like it feels to me like
We're
Germans
coming
maybe
over
are
to your house. We're going
yeah,
to
yeah, we're going
reinstall
to
all your
bring
lights while you
40
sit there.
sprinter vans and with guys in, in matching uniforms and we're going to fix it. But no, I mean, Italians, lighting people that I know, like especially guys like Fausto and stuff, they're so passionate about what they're building. And, but just somehow, sometimes we miss out on the longevity side of things. And I know
Yeah.
that's changed over the years. Claypaky, I'm sure, is a lot more reliable today than they were when I was selling that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
But everything is. Yeah, everything is. I mean,
No,
that's the weird thing about
and
moving
and
lights.
and the amazing thing is that, like, as I've looked at the age, as we've aged the products, the European stuff holds up so much better.
Oh, does it really?
Oh my God, I can't even tell you.
Huh.
Like, it definitely, you know, I definitely get at least double the life out of all my European products than I get out of products from other
Wow.
places in the world. And
Interesting. Are there actually European products still?
yeah, there are
Yeah.
not as many as there used to be, but
Right. I know there's
and
European brands, but
and even their stuff that's made in other places.
yeah. No,
While the quality is probably a little bit better, it definitely does not last as long. You
well,
know.
I went to the Ayrton headquarters in Paris one time, and just I don't know what 3 years ago, like right after COVID, probably 2021, and which you would call during COVID. I call it after COVID, of course, because I
Yeah,
live in
that's very
Florida.
true.
Like July was after COVID, July 2020.
That's 6 months of COVID, and you were
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
All
Um,
the old people had passed away
yeah,
already.
they were all gone, or they moved to New York and got shoved into old people's homes, and Cuomo killed them. All right, there. That's it. That's our
Oh
political discussion for
no,
today.
you
We're
said
done.
it.
Yeah. Um, but anyways, they were showing me. I don't remember what the new light was at that time. I think it was was it the Domino or something? I don't know. They were showing me their new light, and they opened it up, and I hadn't seen the inside of a light since probably a Mac 2000, right? Like I don't look at the insides of lights, it's just not my gig. And I was just like, whoa. Like, first of all, how much shit they actually had jammed in there.
Oh yeah,
Just
Ayrton packs it in there.
how
They really
well the stuff is built. Like, it just looks like a precision piece of medical equipment or something.
yeah,
And
it's really engineered.
so I asked
I
the
mean,
engineer,
Ayrton to me is sort of the
cat's meow.
is yeah, it's definitely the fancy the fancy brand.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's nice. It's nice stuff. The
It
thing I
is.
keep saying to people is everything's good now. Like, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about LDI here in a minute, but
Well, I
the
mean,
this I
people
had,
order stuff off. I mean, I'm getting calls now like, "Hey, I got a dozen lights that we ordered off Amazon,"
yeah, that's hilarious.
and I'm
Um,
like, "Just throw
so
them out."
let me finish this Ayrton story. So I had an engineer sitting there with me taking this thing apart and so
Yeah.
impressed and showing it to me like I know what I'm doing, right?
Right.
And I said, so tell me this, what breaks? And he just looked at me like I had three heads, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, excuse me? And I said, what breaks? And he says, nothing. And I said, but like if I'm stranded on an island and I have a small generator and 4 Ayrton lights and I need a spare parts package because I'm going to have parties every weekend, what do I need? I don't know. Maybe one of this. I don't know if you want maybe one of this, but that's about it. Like he couldn't think of a spare parts package for these lights, right? And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Because I remember back in the day, I'd be like, well, you need 2 power supplies, you need 3 of these, you need 4 of these, couple stepper motors. And yeah, so.
I mean, most of what the tours do nowadays is they just take full spare fixtures.
Oh.
And then if they have a broken unit, they'll cannibalize it. But I tend to not send parts packages out as much as we used to. I know on a lot of tours, you'd have like a spare color module, you have a spare framing module, you'd have maybe a spare ballast if you had a bunch of lights, you just cover yourself. Nowadays, it's just, hey, let's throw 1 or 2 more spare fixtures there. And then we can swap much quicker. Like the timelines have shrunk even everywhere,
Yeah.
So
it's all gotten better. That's for sure. It's the moving light business, is from a standpoint of product. Like if you go, like somebody posted a picture
even 10 years ago,
somebody posted a picture at the ADJ booth at LDI, and he said something like, this is American DJ, and it was like just this killer picture of these killer fixtures, right? And it's like, this is American DJ. And I mean, everybody's good now,
Yeah.
And
No,
certainly
they definitely better. I mean, we actually even have American DJ in our core inventory now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you need 4 lights and, a stick of truss to send out to a wedding or something, like I'm sure they do just fine.
Yep. They do fine on a little beam light,
So, I said it in the intro and I'll say it again. So you were on my podcast a year ago at LDI, and I think I had to wake you up, didn't I? Didn't I have to give you a wake up call? You had just gotten home like 2 hours earlier or something, or back to your hotel. It was one of those nights.
It was definitely a late night, but I walked in, I got there. I was amazed that you guys were able to grab coffee beforehand.
Yeah.
But I made it. Like, you didn't give me a wake up call or anything. I was there, but
I think I did. I think I called you in. I think I
that's
called
the
you
one.
in.
That's the one we recorded. Well, we thought we recorded, but you had forgotten to hit the record button.
Shh. It's happened like twice, and the other one was Eric Loader, so you're in good company at least.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen anymore. I've grown up. I've grown as a what do you call it, podcaster or whatever. So LDI was last week, of course, and again, I said in the intro, my second time ever in the history of LDI that I didn't go, and it seems like I missed a really good show.
You definitely missed a good show. I mean, I think it's the best probably in the last 7-8 years.
I mean, one of the things,
date change helped a lot.
What change? Date change?
The date change from November to December.
So do you think they'll try and keep that date? Well, actually, I guess the F1 race is going to be there every year, so they'll have to keep that date.
I don't know. Is it
2024?
LDI 2024. Yeah. So the announcement for the dates for 2024 are the Expo, the 8th to the 10th.
Oh, in December again.
Yeah, in December again.
The thing I don't like about that is I used to go to LDI because it was always the weekend before Thanksgiving, and then I'd leave Vegas and go up to my house up in Canada, and it was a 1 hour or an hour and a half flight instead of flying 6 hours from Florida to get up there. Oh, and so I'd go up and I'd ski for a few days, spend Thanksgiving in Canada, and then come back to Florida, but doesn't work when it's in December. Damn it.
No, I was gonna say you can go up there and do Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done it a couple times. It's friggin' cold. I mean, I've done it a bunch of
Is
times
it?
when I was
Is
a
it
kid, but yeah, it can be bitter. It's been I'm sure it's global warming, but it's been very warm so far. Like they just got their first nasty cold spell a couple days ago. Prior to that,
really?
it was, 50, 60 degrees and stuff. It was crazy warm still, which is
Yeah, I mean
strange.
Vegas this year was in the 50s to 60s, and New York at the same time was in the 50s to 60s. So I
Weird, huh?
was like,
Yeah, weird. And Florida, I think, was probably in the 50s to 60s too. Like we had a cold front last week. Um, so yeah, which hotel did you stay at, Virgin or Resort World?
I'm still a Virgin guy. I have not made the swap to Resorts World, although
Yeah,
apparently the bar there was kicking insane. I did one night at the bar there,
yeah.
and I was like, oh, I'll go for an hour or two. I was there till like 3 o'clock in the morning,
Oh boy,
and
it
then
happens.
the second night I was like, yeah, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah,
So, I don't like the bar at Resorts World.
yeah.
Um,
I
the
can't say
lighting's
I've been
horrible.
to
The
it.
sound is horrible. I lost my voice because like you basically have to yell in the
Ugh.
you have to yell at people for them to hear you. The acoustics are just there's like marble everywhere, so everything just bounces around. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that sucks.
I do wish people would find a better bar. You know, I think we're hoping when the Hard Rock comes back, there's a Circle Bar there.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, the Hard
and
Rock's
that's
coming back.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
right. Yeah, they knocked down Treasure Island or something, or the
yeah,
Mirage, one of them.
yeah. They I think it's Mirage they took over.
Yeah. Right.
Um, and they're going to put a giant guitar thing there. I'm just
Right.
hoping
Yeah.
they do the Circle Bar again. You know, I like Virgin as far as location goes. I like that there's a good gym in there.
Yeah.
I like that I can completely avoid the casino. So if you stay in the HRH tower, you can, you can park right there yourself
Yeah.
or valet it. Valet's free, and you can just, go down to your car,
Yeah.
drive away without walking through the casino or dealing with anything.
Yeah. I mean, I stayed there last year. I liked it. I thought it was
Yeah,
good. The bar was kind of eh. It wasn't so exciting, and there was
I'm
one
okay
night
with
that
that.
it got pretty weird. There was a weird show in there or something, and
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
clientele was a little different.
yeah,
It was definitely a bit different. But yeah, I like that place. I think it's nice, and it changed the name, changed the colors and stuff. It still felt like I was walking into the Hard Rock just because the
yeah,
entrance was similar
yeah.
and that kind of thing. You still knew your way around, you know.
Yeah, and there were
But
a few people there. The Vera Lake guys stayed there.
mm,
Um, some few LDs I know were there. So, I just meet them down at the bar for a drink, which is great. Didn't have to yell. We didn't
yeah,
have to deal with the horrible lighting. I didn't have to go over the Resorts World and then, pay for parking or whatever.
the other thing at the Virgin is oh, what's his name? The one bartender was at the Circle Bar. He's been there
Yeah.
for like
Oh,
15
yeah.
years or something.
It's all the original Hard Rock people there,
Yeah, that blew
you
me
know?
away because I was like, "Do I know you?" And he goes, "Of course you do. You've
Yeah.
spent so much time and so much money with me in the past. Of course you know me."
Yeah. And
And
he knows me and he knows what I drink. So he's always like, here,
oh, that's
Chris.
cool. That's cool slash bad.
Is
When
it?
people know your drinks, it's kind of a little bad. Yeah, it's a little bad.
No, I'm
Yeah,
recovering now.
yeah, yeah. It took you a week.
Yeah, it
So give
did.
me some LDI stories. Like what was cool, what was exciting.
I think the gangbuster of the whole show was the new Little Martin one.
Yeah, yeah,
People are losing their minds about that. It's like a little Fresnel fixture, same
yeah,
wattage as the original Aura, probably about half the weight. You
yeah,
can like pick it up. I can pick it up with a finger,
yeah, yeah. Well, I
and it's
mean it seems super cool, that thing, and it's cheap. It's like 2 grand retail or something.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And, it's got a It's got a zooming Fresnel lens, and then it's got the Aura pixels in it, so you can do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, every LD I've showed it to, I mean, we saw it at Plaza
Yeah.
uh, in September, which is where, I mean, mostly at LDI, I'm meeting people,
Yeah.
not looking at gear so much. So I get a kind of preview of a lot of this gear, but we saw it there, and it was, I was sitting with Ken Billington, and he was like, buy 1,000, Chris. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them on every side light tower. I'm gonna put them in, pick up, spots that I need lights all around the stage. And he's like, I love the Fresnel lens, very
Yeah.
theatrical. Um,
I think it was a super smart move for them to do that. Like
yeah. Well,
smaller,
again, to me, it's
lighter.
something new. Like
Yeah.
it's not the same. It's not a Me Too fixture.
Yeah.
It's something new, and it's something different than what people have been seeing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and not everybody needs a friggin' 30,000 lumen, LED wash light. Like
right.
sometimes you need something smaller, lighter, and more of them and whatever. And I like that little 4-bar thing that they did. And,
I mean, the attachments that they built for that, so you can like rig it into a wall, you can hang it from a ceiling,
yeah,
you can put it
smart
on a
as hell.
4 bar, is super smart.
I'm sure that like, you know, uh, Ayrton and probably American DJ or not American DJ, Elation and Chauvet were all standing there going, "Fuck, damn
Yeah,
it, God damn it."
yeah.
Yeah,
It's definitely it was the show banger, and it won the award, and
yeah.
I I I I'm going to see a bunch of them on a lot of projects.
It's funny because right when I saw it, I was thinking, I wonder how many Huntley's gonna order. I wonder how many Huntley's ordering, and it's got to be thousands.
A lot.
Yeah, yeah. When does it ship? Is it shipping already?
January.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's well built. Like when you pick it up, it
Yep.
doesn't feel cheesy or,
Nope.
huh?
It's pretty solid.
Very
I mean, I'll
cool.
see what happens when I toss it off a lift.
Yeah, I think it was a brilliant move. Like I think Martin definitely was pretty smart with that one. So what else? I heard JDC2 was really cool.
The JDC2 is cool. I mean, it's really just the big brother to the JDC1,
Yeah,
but it's a lot more blinder, meaning,
yeah,
you basically, you can run video through it, but then you can also be a blinder.
yeah,
I think most of the things I've seen people do with it is they kind of do atmosphere stuff,
yeah,
and then they use it more as a blinder floodlight.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but we've run. Uh, I've worked with people who have run video through the JDC1, and they look great. I mean,
yeah,
you're fairly far away. A lot of people were like, "Oh, the JDC2, like the pixel is too wide." All the video screens nowadays are much tighter. I'm like, they don't need to be any tighter. They're 20 feet, 30 feet away from the very
yeah,
first patron who's looking at it. You're not looking at it up close.
yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean,
so
also it's not really built to compete with a video screen. Like
correct,
it's that's sort of it can also do. Like that's not
correct,
its core function is to put a bunch of them
right.
together and
And I don't see it.
watch a
You
football
know,
game on them.
like nobody's going to put the football game on it. Nobody's going to
Right.
put the iMag on it.
Yeah.
They're going to put funky,
Content,
cool
video content.
imagery
Yeah.
content, to accent the performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're not using it for iMac.
So what about Avo on the Roby booth? How was that? Was it cool? Like was it busy?
I mean, it
Did
was
they
great to see Roby with a decent, I mean, Avo Lights with a decent sized booth.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have a lot of good products,
Yeah.
you know, and I think Americans miss out on it because they don't usually
Yeah.
do a very big booth. They show whatever the current console is. They had a whole bunch of consoles there. Brad was there, and
Well, I
I think it
mean,
was a smart purchase for Roby to
yeah, so
to
do I.
pick up a console,
Yeah.
pick up a console brand, and you know, really a legendary historic rock console. Like
Yeah.
it's I still know a lot of the old rock guys just love those consoles, and
Yeah.
you know,
No, I think it was a decent move. Like there is an argument that says, that customers don't want to buy consoles and moving lights from the same company, and that everyone's always got this fear that the company's going to sort of lever those things and try to use them against you. Well, I'll give you the lights, but you got to take the console. And I just don't see it, like people are going to buy the
maybe 10
consoles they
years
need to
ago,
buy. Yeah.
yeah, maybe 10 years ago. I mean, I think Avo kind of has a following built. It's not like they're pushing, Roby's going to push a new console on people.
Well, I
Um,
think they
like
will a
a,
little bit because I think Avo's been underrepresented for a long
oh, yeah.
time, obviously, right? And like even just the fact that like they've got this D9 and they've got one guy basically selling it and supporting it for the whole country and, running around doing demos. And I mean, like how are you going to compete like that when you've got, Act with the MA and
Oh, yeah.
Elation with the Obsidian stuff. And so yeah, I think they should do okay, and I know the price of the company wasn't very high. I was actually in talks with a couple of other companies who were looking at it,
Mm-hmm.
and the price wasn't that high for whatever reason. The owners wanted out pretty badly, and it needed to go to a bigger home. Like you needed better manufacturing and bigger manufacturing and stuff like that for that
Yeah,
console.
I
So
mean, it definitely needed support.
yeah,
They,
yeah,
and here in the U.S., they definitely on the support side still have a long way to go. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah,
and
well,
I think that
I'm
they
sure they'll
can,
staff it up.
yeah, they can staff it up, and and they have some great staff there already. Like
Yeah,
Marty and Craig, and those guys will definitely sell the hell out of that console.
yeah.
Um,
What
but they're
else?
still going to be breaking into the market. Um, what else? What else did I see
Oh,
that I
what about
really like?
speaking of Ayrton, the Rivali? Did you like it?
Rivali's a nice light.
Yeah,
I think it's really nice. I think I think the Broadway guys need to look at that light and consider it. I definitely think it does everything. You know, um,
it seems to
the
be a
form
trend.
factor is
This,
smaller, which is nice.
yeah, like this is what I've been
Lighter, which
hearing
is
is,
nice. IP, which is
yeah,
great. You know,
yeah.
I think
I've been hearing a lot of this sort of rumble about, lumens per gram or whatever,
yeah, per pound.
lumens per pound.
Yeah,
And I think that's a cool thing because, I mean, let's face it, we went too far the other direction there for a while. Oh, it's only 120 pounds. Or no, they don't even quote them in pounds. They quote them in kilos because it sounds smaller,
So
right?
they sound
Yeah,
smaller.
it's
Yeah,
only 65 kilos. Yeah, but that's 135 pounds.
yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I think people got a little nuts with first it was channels because well now all of a sudden we've got 10 universes we can use them, and then it was just weight and with the IP fixtures the number of screws going into them that you had to
Oh yeah,
take
yeah.
out a bazillion
It's
screws
like
to open the thing.
changing a gobo in some of the IP fixtures is, like an hour long
Oh
process.
my god. Yeah.
And I mean, one of the manufacturers was showing us on their IP light, it's 4 screws to get to the gobos
Oh
now, and I'm
wow.
like, thank you,
Who's
thank
that?
you. I can't tell you.
Oh, you forget.
There were some lights. There were some lights we had to sign NDAs for. So
Oh, were there? Oh, cool.
yes.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I mean there's
new
always
things
some of those.
coming down the line, which are exciting.
Yeah.
And
I mean
I
that's good
definitely
because
think,
it got boring for a while with moving lights. I think like everybody was good. Everybody had the same thing. We got a beam. We got a wash. We got a spot. We got
yeah,
a profile. We got a yeah. Everything was good. Everybody had the same basic lineup, and then it was ooh. Now we have IP range of the exact same lights, but now they're IP, and
right. And the eye
yes,
candy stuff. I definitely think. I mean, what Martin's done so well in that one is they've mixed the eye candy stuff with an actual fixture that's good at lighting, as
mm-hmm.
opposed to just an eye candy fixture that doesn't do a good job of lighting subjects. you know,
Yeah.
and
But there's
and
going to be a 2. I wonder what the 2 is going to be. And the 3.
it's just going to be slightly bigger.
They've just
Bigger
started
one.
all over instead of the 500, 600, 700, 1200, whatever. Now
Do
they're
the
1,
one,
2,
two,
3.
three, four.
They reset. They did the reset.
When I saw it at Plaza, they hadn't named it yet, so they were looking for names, and I wanted to name it the Peon, but they didn't like that.
Yeah, instead of P1, Peon.
No, actually, P1 would have been what you put on the fixture, right? It's the
Yeah.
Peon one, so P1.
Ah, that's funny.
So, but
That's
you'd
funny.
spell it, P dash
ON.
ON.
Yeah. I don't know that that's a great idea. Did I ever tell you that I named the Mac? I named like
Oh no,
Mac, the name Mac. So
no,
when when Peter Johansson came over with the original, the real dog moving light, the Mac. I don't even want to say this out loud in case Huntley's listening,
the
because
218.
he'll jump through and kill me. No, the first moving head they did, the Mac
Oh, the first one.
1200.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was like a dog among dogs. I mean, that was the biggest
Wasn't the PAL? There was a PAL 1200,
Yeah, there was a PAL 1200. I
and
had
then a
named
Mac.
that one too. Uh, and I like when you're in a room full of Danes, it's easy to be the most creative one. you know, so I would just go, "How about we call it blah?" But anyways, they were creating a new light, and they were telling me the features of it, and it was basically going to be an automated color wash. And so I said, "Call it Mac," and they said, "What is that? We want to call it the Martin color wash with automation or something." And I said, "No, Martin automated color wash, Mac." And they said, this is good. And so it ended up being Mac, and who knew it was going to stick for friggin'
No
25 years or
residuals.
whatever.
You're supposed to make residual deals with that,
Well, I
buddy.
got an Acura NSX. They bought me
Oh,
an
well, there you
NSX in 1997 or something. They bought me an
go.
NSX
Oh,
because I
nice.
sold like, it's a funny story, but this PAL thing wasn't selling real well, other than to Huntley. And you probably still put them on shows, don't you? You probably still
No,
got a
no
warehouse full of them.
pals left. No
But
pals left.
uh, so Peter came over and he said, "We want to sell 400 PALs by October 1st or whatever." I think it was when he was going public, and he needed to pump the thing up a little bit, right?
Right.
And I said, "No." He said, "We want to sell 400." And I said, "I think we can do that." And I'm thinking within the next 12 months. It's like,
Right.
mid-August or something, right? And he goes, "Okay, 400. And I'll tell you what, if you sell 400, I'll buy you that car that you've been looking at." And I said, "The Acura?" And he goes, "Yep, I'll buy you that car." And I go, "For real?" And he goes, "Yep." I said, "Okay, done. I'll do it." And he goes, "Okay, by October 1st." And I'm like, "What?" Like, I've got 6 weeks to sell 400 of the worst moving lights in the world, really? And we did it. I mean, we sold like 430 or something. And, he didn't
Nice.
put in a stipulation that they couldn't be returned later. And so a few did get returned, but yeah. No. Yeah, I mean, those were interesting days, but I'm so jealous of guys who sell moving lights, or girls who sell moving lights now, because like I said, everything's so damn good now. We had to sell RoboScan 1220s against Cyberlights. Try doing
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. No, I remember. I remember when we opened up as a Martin dealer in Boston, Massachusetts, and we
Yeah.
were fighting the big high end guy
Yeah.
in town, and just
Wasn't an
chipped
easy
away.
fight.
No, wasn't an easy fight, but it shows. To me, it shows you again. It's the people more than
Of
the
course. Yeah. I
than
mean, that
than,
was
than
that was a tough
necessarily
one though.
gear.
The 1220 against the Cyberlight was a tough one. The
Yeah,
218 or 518 or whatever against the IntelliBeam, that was a tough
518
one.
was the first one that I felt was
Sort
you
of
know
real.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The 518 was the beginning of that.
The gobos were like this big. I remember going to Apollo and I'm like, "I need a logo." And they're like, "What size?" And I said, Yeah, it's that big. And they're like, we can't make the metal thick enough that it'll hold together. Like, it's just too small. But yeah. What about any funny stories from LDI that you're allowed to tell?
I don't know that I have any really funny stories. I mean,
That you
every year
remember?
I kind of plan my dinners out with clients. Like, I do one each night that I'm there. So I have like 10 to 15 clients. So I had a full night on the last night. And by the time I got there, everybody had canceled or changed their plans or couldn't make it or something. So, like, I had booked a reservation, at my favorite French place, put down a $900 deposit, and I had nobody coming when I got
Oh no.
there. So I was a little freaked out. Um, and one of
And
my clients
so
was
Herrick
like,
showed
"Hey,
up and you drank expensive frickin' French wine and ate
we ended up
French food.
filling it up. We ended up filling it up by
Oh,
the end
good.
of the show because enough people were there. Like I didn't even know everybody was coming. So, I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? What are you doing the last night?
Ah, that's funny. That's
And we were
funny.
able to fill it up. But
Yeah.
it was definitely like, and again, like that really hasn't happened to the show. Usually my dinners are booked in advance.
Yeah.
Everybody knows they're going, and that's it. Nothing
Yeah.
changes.
What, you do
Maybe
one big dinner?
I do one each night. So,
Oh, one each night. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So I
That's
got to
cool.
entertain like, 30 to 40 clients at least. So
So I know
I do.
you're not a huge fan of Vegas sushi, but what is the best sushi in Vegas today by your
I
standards?
think it's probably a toss up between Kame
Yeah, I've been
and
there.
Kabuto, and Kabuto is very good too. Those are the two that I really
What's the
love.
one like off the beaten path on the other side of the freeway in like a strip mall or something that's pretty
Both
good?
of them, both
Oh,
Kame and Kabuto are over
because
there.
one of those is the one that I like. I go with a friend of
Ringo.
mine who used to be a performer in Vegas. He retired recently. He was a hypnotist, and whenever I go to lunch or something with him, he'll take me to this place in the strip mall, and it's really really good sushi.
Yeah, that's probably Kabuto.
And what's that like high end, really weird Japanese restaurant? Uh, in it's also in a strip mall, and it's like really high end, weird stuff. It's not sushi.
Oh, Raku.
Raku, that's it. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
You
Are
don't
you a
like
fan?
Raku?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the food's good. You just got to know what to me, you got to know what to order, and
And I didn't. Like I was
like
pointing at the
if you're
table next to us, going, "What's that? I'll have one of
yeah,
those."
no, you got to,
And I didn't like
and you're going to
anything.
end up with some random dishes. They
That's what
definitely
I
have a
had.
lot of random dishes there, but they have good stuff there, like the hamachi kama there, which is the jawbone of the
Yeah.
yellowtail, is really good.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
there's
This doesn't work for me.
yeah, there's just some people don't like that stuff as much. Some
Yeah.
people are just more sushi.
Yeah.
There's a new revolving sushi place there that I went to that was pretty cool.
Oh, with the
Um,
boats where it goes around?
Sephora. No, they're not boats. This one's like a robot, so it's like a little trail that goes all the way through, and then
Okay.
they have a little robot that drives you out your specific orders.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
And it was
called
decent?
Sapporo. Yeah, the quality of fish there was surprisingly good.
Hmm.
I I don't tend to usually go to those places unless they're really rated well, but
Yeah.
I checked it out, and
Where's that
and
place?
it's in the strip mall down by the other ones in Chinatown.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Hmm. Sapporo.
and
I'll have to remember that one.
I did 18 plates, and it was like under $100.
What?
So,
That's cheap.
yeah,
Damn.
$3 a plate. So
Wow. That's really
yeah,
cheap. Huh.
yeah,
I'll have to
it's
try
delicious.
that one next time I'm there. So, New York business still booming?
Insanely booming right now.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah, it's gone. I felt like we had a little bit of a lull for the beginning of December, but yesterday I got like 20 RFQs for stuff,
Hmm.
and
It just keeps going.
it just keeps going. You know, A lot
So
of shows
was
here.
23 bigger than 22? Like
Yes.
I'm not asking you your sales. I'm just
Yeah.
saying in general was
Yeah.
23 yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
24 looks like it's going to stay big.
I mean, I hope it's as big as 23 was.
Yeah.
I think it certainly can be.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely feel like there's some clamp down on, but the shows are still happening. The budgets are getting clamped down a little bit. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and we started to really see that the second half of the year.
Yeah.
You know, where budgets were, before people were just trying to get somebody to do their show because there was more shows than people could do.
Yeah.
Um, so I definitely think that next year. I mean, next year looks as big so far.
Yeah.
Um, I got enough on the list.
What
Um,
what's the problem now? Is it gear or people or still a bit of both?
um, this year definitely. I mean, the last 2 years we have gotten to the point where we couldn't do any more gigs. You know, and I think that we weren't the only ones.
Yeah.
Because some of the calls I got were like, "Hey, we had this gig booked, and they just said they can't do it now." So there was a bit of that.
Oof.
Um, and can you do it?
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, in 2022 that happened a lot. 2023 it happened less, but still happened.
Yeah.
And and I'm hearing some grumblings in the spring already that gear is too tight and that people are already turning down spring jobs.
Interesting.
The shops are like, we can't do it. We can't handle it.
Do most of the people who go out and do your shows, are they staff or are they 1099 contractors?
It depends.
Yeah.
It does depend. We started a full-time tech program
Yeah.
this year. So we've been adding people to it left and right. Those people, of course, are not 1099. Those are full-time Christie employees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and, I think the program's good for them. I think the program's good for us to have some, real full-time techs,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
experienced story techs.
Yeah.
Um, we do
And
still have some 1099 people. But on my shows, it's not the majority. The majority is all employees.
and do you like, cuz I know, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this know that the way that account guys work at Christie is your own boss basically, like
Correct.
you're like your own business inside a business. And so
Correct.
do you have like your pocket people that you like for your shows? Like do you got your A-listers
Oh
that
yeah.
you get to
Yep. I
select
do.
and oh Bob and John and Mike are going out on this show?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No, I definitely have my A-listers who work on my shows. And most of them are, highly experienced guys that, I've been working with for years.
yeah.
Um, a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, why don't you use this cheap guy?" And I'm like, it's just not worth it to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, if somebody wants to train, I'm happy to like throw them as like a pusher on shows, but I don't really risk my clientele
Yeah,
with
that's
new
brutal.
guys.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't
I,
want to do that.
I mean, if you think about it, like the amount, like, so some of my guys are like double, the rates that, the new guys are getting. And they're like, "Chris, why are we paying this guy double?" And I'm like, well, how many phone calls do, I break it down to how many phone calls do I get during the show? If I'm getting 2 phone calls a day from a guy, I might as well just be there myself, and work from there.
Yeah.
If I get no phone calls and we don't have to send extra, a truck nowadays to the city is $600. So one new guy's screw up
Yeah.
is, I've already
Yeah.
lost money in the deal.
Yeah. No good. No
So
good. No bueno.
it's just, you know,
Yeah.
But we're not a production company, so we're certainly not doing, we're not doing what the production companies do, which is, selling a complete product. My
Yeah.
clients call me up like, I need a head, I need 3 electricians, and here's the gear list. I'm not
Yeah.
deciding how many electricians they get. I'm not deciding how many riggers they want or anything like that.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that you
Yeah,
guys didn't do like full production like that.
yeah, we don't do full production like
Oh, I didn't
that.
know that.
So
Hmm.
really, the key is to not compete with your clients,
Yeah.
and we're probably one of the last shops that doesn't. You
Interesting. And you don't get involved in any touring, do you?
I mean, I just do Bruce Springsteen. That's the only one I do.
Oh, well, that's not a bad one, I guess, if you got to do something. I hear he's kind of a thing.
He's pretty popular.
Yeah, I hear he's kind of a thing, bit of a thing, Mr.
Bill,
Springsteen.
Bill stadiums up. I mean, I've known him for years, but you know, I just started handling. We took over the account this year,
Oh, that's very cool.
and
Is it still Jeff? Is still the
yep,
LD? Yeah,
yep. Jeff Rabbits is still the LD,
very cool.
and we had a good sit down at the beginning, and what I did for him was, we set up every light he had spec'd in the plot and a bunch of alternatives so he could see everything next to each other. And, no pressure on him whatsoever. We were like, you pick what you want. We're here to support you. And he really liked that. He sort of like, we spent the whole day just walking around with the meter, looking at lights, having them do different things. I had a top level programmer there for him. And, we just spent the whole day checking stuff out and really letting them play with it. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
he was specking fixtures that he hadn't really used before. So I was like, hey, let's make sure you're good with this.
yeah,
Like, let's put it
yeah.
up.
He's such a nice
And
guy, Jeff. I can't see him being too much of a hard ass in that situation. But
no, no, I mean he was again. He's one of the classic
of course, yeah,
guys
yeah.
who. I mean, I've known him since I was like 15. So
Really, I didn't know you did anything with Springsteen.
yep, yeah.
I did not know this. Very cool. Anything else, Chris? I know you probably have to get back to that quote that I broke you away from.
Yeah, I was doing like 20 coats today. It's getting a little crazy. I mean, I think LDI was really amazing this year.
Yeah.
You know, I'm definitely going to need to sleep a little bit more before I go. Some people just stayed up for like 2 days straight. I won't mention their names, but I
I
was
know who
getting
some of
texts
them
from
are.
the bar
Corey
at like
Easterbrook.
4 and 5 a.m. Like, hey, we're still here.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And I'm like, you're
remember
supposed
those
to be
days.
an hour. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm on my way. I'm going to trade my old fashioned for a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh my God. I remember those days, but I
I
got to be
can't do
honest. I mean, most nights I'm going, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And boom, I'm up in bed by like 12:30.
the Irish goodbye, fade
Yep.
away.
Well, you have to. I mean, it's why I used to always try and stay at the Renaissance because you didn't have to sneak by the bar because the bar was way
Right.
over there in the corner and you could just come in the other door and straight up the elevator and nobody knew you were there.
I definitely feel like the bar is the best place to see everybody, though.
Oh,
You
it
know,
definitely is.
I
It
miss the
definitely is.
Peabody, like in Orlando when we used to do
Yeah.
the Peabody.
The Peabody was a blast. That was
You
a
know,
blast.
that was great. But the crowd's grown a lot. I mean, I think there was probably 300 people at the Resorts World bar.
Wow.
You know, but again, you had to like scream in people's faces for them to hear you, which was just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
the bar tabs get big so fast now too because like beer is $12 in those lobby bar things.
oh yeah,
So, and people are ordering,
yeah, it's
fancy
$100
drinks because
around.
they're on
I mean,
Chris's bar tab, right?
yeah, oh
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Was
Yeah, I
Dearson
saw the
belly up
third-
at the bar?
was what who?
Dearson.
Oh, I didn't see him at the bar,
I mean, he
but he
used to be
was.
such a fixture at the Hard Rock. I
Oh
used to
yeah,
love hanging out with Dearson at the Hard Rock. you
Yeah.
know,
I
could
hung out with
barely
him at the
see.
show. It was good to see him. I hung out with him at the T&B booth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really, too, if you want to see everybody, you can just hang out at the T&B booth and drink all day, and people will filter through, a few at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. TMB had a real grown up booth this year. Jesus.
Yeah.
From the pictures that I saw anyway. They like that was one of the things I thought was cool and I wouldn't want to be the guy paying for it, but the big booths are back and
Yeah.
the shows are back and it went from these corporate boring lights on podiums booths back to these sort of big glamorous show
Oh,
booths. And,
I've definitely been pushing for that for years. If you can't show what your fixture can do, what's really
but it's expensive, Chris. It's like
it is.
every one of those big companies spent at least $500,000 at that show,
Oh,
at
yeah. Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
And some of them I didn't see the booths, but I wouldn't be surprised if Roby was like 750, and like I mean,
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah.
Chauvet looked pretty wild too in the pictures I saw, anyways.
Oh, yeah. They had a huge booth with big circular inside, and
Yeah,
you know,
and the girls on the silk things and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm
acrobatics.
jealous. I never ever like sat here going, "Oh, I wish I was at that trade show." But that show, like right from Sunday on, I was pouting, and I just kept scrolling through Cosmo pictures on my phone. Oh man, Cosmo's with him now. There
Yeah.
was one of Cosmo, Wiseman, and Nick Jackson, and I was really sad because
Uh,
those are three of my favorites. So yeah, whatever. You do what you got to do. I had to
yeah.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. If you gotta work, you gotta work. I mean, you gotta pay the bills.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely think there was also some good networking stuff at the show. There's a lot of discussion right now in the business about nodes and who makes the best node, and a lot of my theater shows they're using all the Pathport nodes. On a lot of my rock shows, they want the Luma nodes, which is interesting. And,
Interesting. Why?
I think that a lot of people want the Pathport nodes because the control's right on the face, so you can set patch up, you can patch the network directly on the unit. It
Okay.
also has a web interface that you can use. On the Luminex, you have to use the web interface.
Hmm. And you
Um,
would think that touring people would want the one that you can control on the face.
right, right. Well, the theater touring people do,
Yeah.
but the rock touring people
Want it
seem
simple.
to, yeah, they want to just open up their laptop and plug in and do stuff much quicker than hit the button once, then hit this button, and then hit
Yeah.
that button, and then they
Remember
hit
dip
button.
switches?
Of course I do.
God, I never got that math right till the very end of time on dip switches. I still never got it. Well, 1+1=3 or whatever it was,
Yeah.
like I just could never figure it out. I was like, I don't get this system. It's like the Dewey Decimal
No, I
System
used
in
to keep I
libraries.
used to keep a card in my wallet, a laminated
A
card that
cheat
had
card. Yeah.
a cheap card that had the dip switches in my wallet.
God, those were annoying. I hated those things. Hated them.
Let's see, any other earth-shattering things that I missed? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, clay packies, they came out with them, the Xylos and the Aqua, and now they have a new mini version, the laser source products.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think they're great. I mean, at one point we were trying to find a sub for an Aqua, and there's nothing in the same weight class that does what it does.
Yeah.
It's the lightest fixture for the most output, for the most, abilities for that little fixture to do stuff.
Yeah.
And they have a half size one. So they got the bigger one and then they got a little one.
And do they
And
you I remember hearing something where Claypacky was at least suggesting that they no longer needed variants.
in Europe and Canada, they do not need a
Well, Europe
variance.
never
In
did.
US,
Europe,
yeah,
you could
in
always
US,
point a 100-watt laser right at the crowd and nobody cared.
wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an
Really?
American Well, who puts lasers under the FDA for one,
Right, Right. Well, and that I think is the problem with the whole variance thing is that, um, the FDA doesn't want to give up, getting its checks or its control.
Right.
No,
Yeah, that's the thing about government. Once you give them control, they don't give it back very easily, do they?
no, they're
The
definitely
bastages.
fighting tooth and nail for the whole variance thing. And
I don't
I
remember
think
who
people
told
look
me. I
at it
thought it
really
was Noel. I thought it was Noel who told me that that Clay Packy had some deal with the U.S. where now they weren't going to need a variance anymore. But I don't know.
no, we
Maybe
we
I
still
dreamt it.
need it. We have them on
Yeah.
tour. We have it like Christie Lites has a variance, so we take care of most of it for our clients. We fill out the paperwork and send it in, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So
Um,
it's not that hard.
but we do have to have sort of, a teaching day with the people. And then, you're supposed to file all your stuff 30 days in advance, so they know.
Don't now listen. Do you think it's as dumb as I think it is? Because like, have you ever been hit in the face with a Sharpie from like 8 feet away or whatever? It'll burn your friggin'
Hit by,
retinas.
I've been hit by a Xylo 8 feet away.
Yeah.
I've been hit by a Sharpie 8 feet away.
Yeah.
Still can see fine.
Yeah. No,
And
but what I'm saying is probably a Sharpie does more damage to your retinas
oh yeah, there are
than
brighter lights. There are lights that are putting out more lumens than
it's
than
just because it's
than
called
the
a
sun.
laser, and laser
Correct.
video projectors nobody has any trouble with for some reason. They don't blind people, but
Right. Right.
yeah.
They're strangely they don't require a variance. So there you go.
Well, the argument that I heard is they're typically not aimed at the audience. You know, projectors are like above people's heads and aimed away from you, not at you. Uh,
Right.
I don't know. I ain't buying
Well, if
it.
you don't have a variance, how do you know where they're
There you
at?
go. I could aim a projector at the audience
Yeah.
if I wanted to. And you got 20K laser projectors or whatever. Like, those have some
Those
punch.
are even brighter, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I mean, nobody's blind in Canada and nobody's blind in Europe from any of these products. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I mean, Europe literally forever. Like I remember when I used to go to the trade show in Rimini. Have you ever been to that one?
no, I haven't been to that one.
That's fun. I don't even know if they still run it, but it used to go. It used to be every year, and it was in, if I remember correctly, probably like April or something every year.
Hmm.
And Rimini, I don't know if you know, but it's a little seaside town in
Oh,
Italy,
I know. Yeah, I know.
and it's off season, so you can get in any of the restaurants and stuff. But
Yeah.
you'd go there and like all of these laser booths would have these like 50 or 100-watt lasers just blasting you right in the face. And then you'd go to the clubs at night and they'd have lasers blasting you right in the face. And I was always like, why can we only have 4.9
Right.
milliwatts? And these guys, they're like burning holes in the carpet.
People
And
aren't like falling out of the clubs with their eyes burnt out.
yeah, it's so
Did you hear
stupid.
about this thing in China where they were one of the big Bitcoin companies had a convention out there, and um, they put UVC lamps instead of black lights up, and they
No.
fried like 300 people's eyes, like people
No.
in the hospital. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
What were they thinking?
I assume, they probably had some, like sterilization lights in the shop and some black lights. And somebody grabbed the wrong one and put them on the truck,
Wow.
and they hung them and they turned them
Do,
on.
do
And
they sue people in China? Because somebody got sued for that one.
I don't think so, but there were people in the hospital like the next day,
That is
couldn't
crazy.
couldn't
I hadn't
see,
heard that.
had their eyes bandaged up, like,
Yeah, that stuff's
it's
bad. Like I remember Chris Asen during COVID was redoing the CT, their studio or whatever, and they were putting in all the UVC stuff. And I remember him saying that um, you'd set it up like the night before and run it for however many hours you were supposed to run it or whatever. And he said over a period of a few days, you were starting to already see like the casing on cables like sort of just becoming
Breaking down.
brittle and breaking.
Yeah.
And it was just like what that did to the floors and to the cabling and stuff in the studios. He said, I can't even imagine what it does to your eyes, like it's
Yeah.
nasty
Yeah.
stuff, that UVC.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. I mean, supposedly it doesn't cause permanent blindness, but it definitely, people were in the hospital for days.
Well, and then there's the other one, far UV, I think it's called, where you can humans can be in the same room
Yeah,
with it
yeah,
and stuff. It
yeah.
doesn't
There,
it doesn't affect
there were a
us.
couple stores in the city that did the far UVC, but there wasn't a lot of proof that it killed the
Yeah.
viruses.
Oh, trust us. We're with the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're with the company that's selling something.
Yeah,
Trust
true. Well, and Peter Johansson's out there selling UVC stuff, so it must be safe, right?
right.
Yeah.
Phillips made the ball. It must be safe.
Oh God. Yeah. All right, Chris. Well, I have to go, but I appreciate you jumping on and doing this today. I know you're super friggin'
No,
busy with year end stuff, and it's always nice to see you and talk to you.
always a pleasure, Marcel.
Gave you the
And hopefully
sushi
you're coming
background
next year
here.
to LDI.
Oh, hell yeah. I missed my one out of, well, two out of whatever, 30 years or however long they've been doing it. Not a bad run, but I hated
No,
missing
no,
it. I
no.
really did, but I had to
Yeah,
do it.
I think I've missed it a couple times. One, my daughter was born that month,
That was
and
probably a
then
good
that
choice
year
to
I
stay
missed
home.
it. Yeah, and then one other year not sure why I missed it the other year. Yeah, but I think I missed like 2 years since
Yeah.
'97.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, you be well. And if I don't talk to you before Christmas, have an amazing holiday and
Yeah,
nice
Merry
Christmas with
Christmas,
your
man.
family. Keep sending
Happy
me
Thanksgiving.
recipes, sous vide recipes. I need some sous vide recipes because I don't know
Oh yeah,
what the hell I'm doing. I've been buying this Oshi salmon though. Have you tried it
oh
yet?
yeah, yeah. That's good salmon.
Oshi is good salmon and their
Yeah,
prices aren't ridiculous. They had a
yeah.
Black Friday sale where it was like 25% off. So I bought like $200 worth of salmon,
Oh, nice.
and their salmon
Have
is
you ever
so
checked out
nice.
the Seattle Pike Place Fish Market? Has an online thing they do,
No, I
and you can
haven't. I'll have
get
to check
really
that
good
out.
salmon there. I've gotten salmon there for Christmas before, like, and sent it to people.
I'm sure it's easy for you in New York, but for some reason here in South Florida, we can't get salmon anymore. I mean, you can get farmed salmon, but you can't get anything good.
Yeah,
It's
no, the
weird.
wild salmon. Well, it's seasonal, so you only can get it. We're pretty much at the end of the
But I mean,
season.
in the grocery stores here, you can almost never get line caught
Really,
salmon,
that's
fresh
crazy.
wild caught salmon. You can never get it. It's just impossible. And so I tripped over this Oshi company, and I've been really super happy with their quality, and prices aren't terrible. And so yeah, we've been eating a lot of salmon, and
That's
we
good
keep
for you.
trying to do it in the sous vide, but we just suck at it. So I'm waiting for some recipes here, Mister.
Okay,
I
but
keep going to my girlfriend and going, look at what Chris made tonight. Why does our food look like shit? His looks amazing. Yeah. I love that device. It's just, you know what? Like, I'll tell you what, vegetables, like we just slice up Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and carrots and
yeah,
maybe some onions or mushrooms or something. And she puts, I don't know what she puts on it, but a bunch of different spices. And it's amazing. It's the best vegetables. We eat them almost every night. It's so
nice.
good in the sous vide. But I mean, other than that,
I do
we haven't.
roasted broccoli in the sous vide. Like you cut broccoli up, you coat it with some olive oil or ghee, whatever your flavor of choice is,
Yeah,
butter or a little grassier,
yeah,
salt, pepper, mix it in a bowl together so you get it like thoroughly coated.
yeah,
You put it in the sous vide for 30 minutes at 350,
yeah.
and it's amazing.
Oh, I'll try it. Try it
Yeah,
tonight, maybe with some salmon.
there you go.
All right, Chris. Thanks, buddy.
Okay,
Good to see you,
take
bud.
it easy.
All right,
Bye.
see ya.